In this session, I want to introduce you to two important topics, namely value graph and speed graph in After Effects. This part of Graph Editor is very important, and we spend most of our time in motion graphic in Graph Editor. To move the logo from side to side of the stage, I put it here first. I create a keyframe for the position with Alt-Shift-P. I'll come in second 2, or I press Alt-Shift-J and enter +200, and I put the logo in the new place. Now I want to have a few copies of this. I press the U button and close this. I press Ctrl D and a new layer is created. Putting logos like this is wrong. This is how they come together. I want 4 different layers, each with different movements. I press the U button, I select these 2 frames, I take this logo, using Shift, I put it exactly below that one. Again, I get another duplicate. I want to have 4 rows of this logo. I select these 2, Shift and bring them down. I take Ctrl D again. U button. I select these 2 keyframes, press Shift and bring them down and place them here. Press Ctrl A. When they are selected, if you hit U, you can see all the keyframes. Okay? To be able to change the speed of these depends on the moves between keyframes, which is called spacing. Timing and spacing are 2 very important rules in animation. Richard Williams, one of the lead animators in Disney, says everything is about timing and spacing. The distance between 2 keyframes is called the timing. We said before that by moving these, we can choose their timing. For example, it accelerates in the first second, or when they are here, their speed slows down. This is called timing, which is the distance between 2 keyframes. Now, how can we adjust the spacing? Spacing is the movement between these. These lines that are automatically created by After Effects are called spacing. Now, I want to change this type of movement or change its spacing. For example, I want it to be fast at first, then slow down gradually, and finally stop here. Right-click on it. From the Keyframe Assistant section, I choose Easy, Easy In. If you pay attention, the shape of this keyframe changes. If these are diamond, this one is like a forward arrow. I press the N button and specify the work area. I play the animation. We see that its speed was high at first, then slowed down, and finally they came together. This Easy In effect is used for second keyframes. If you consider a line here, this effect will affect the second point. So it's used for input effect like this. And it's usually for secondary keyframes. For the first keyframes, they don't use Easy In, but use Easy Out. Now to make it clear, I will show you this in Graph Editor. If you select these 2 keyframes, then open the Graph Editor section, you will see a curve. And this curve may be speed graph or value graph. If you want to specify the type of curve, from here, select one of them. Value graph and speed graph. What is the difference between them? To make you understand, I make this bigger with the key below Escape. I said that the animation consists of 2 parts, timing and spacing. This x-axis is timing. Our whole animation took 2 seconds. I'm zooming out a bit. Of course, it took a little less than 2 seconds because I had moved it. I turned them back to the 2 seconds. Like this. I move these, I hold the Shift, and I clean them to this. If I enter the Graph Editor, I only select these 2 keyframes whose contents are displayed in the Graph Editor. I hit the button below the Escape. And if you pay attention, the whole movement is done in 2 seconds. Comes from the first frame up to second 2. So this is timing. And this value becomes spacing, the distance between two keyframes. I take this point and move it. Up or down. For you to understand, for example, I choose this point. I specify its distance. I hold the shift so that the second doesn't move. You see, if I take this higher, the distance will be greater. When I play the animation, you see it popping out of the image. And if I lower it, don't forget to hold shift. The distance is getting shorter. So you understand the concept of timing and spacing. Its time is the same as 2 seconds, but we reduce the distance. With the value editor in the graph editor section, we can make the distance more or less in the same way. Of course, we don't use the value editor option much in motion graphics. It is mostly used in 3D animations. Now those who have worked with 3D programs are familiar with the graph editor section. They know that with this part, the movements can be smooth, and if there is a problem somewhere in the movement, it can be fixed. I'll explain the next options to you, and then I'll go to the speed graph section. So this easy in is used for the second keyframes. And for the first keyframes, they usually use the easy out. Right click on it and select the easy out. It also has a shortcut if you like. Of course, these two are not very useful and we mostly work with easy ease. Now I will tell you the difference. Easy out is for the output effect. If we consider a line here, it is coming out of it. You see it moving at a different speed. First, its speed is low and increases in the middle and it decreases again. You can see this in the speed graph section and also in the value graph section. Let me zoom in a little on these. You can also zoom in with the Alt and mouse scroller. You can also hold the space and move them. See here, the speed is slowly increasing. Of course, this is not the speed. It is the value that shows the shape of the entry and exit. If you want to enter the speed graph section, from here, select the speed graph option. Here shows the speed. If we want to analyze the speed, first the speed is 0. Then the speed increases. See the numbers go up. It continues until 1146 and then decreases in this way to reach 0. So this curve shows the velocity. From the Edit Speed Graph section, you can open this page. We do most of our work with speed graph and we don't work with values much in motion graphic because we adjust the speed of the values manually. For example, we specify the first and the last. We can set the distance manually on the composition, but we can't set the speed graph in any way in the stage. We must use the speed graph option. So you know how this chart affects the speed of these. Well, easy in is used for the second keyframes because we have no keyframes after that. And for the first keyframes, we use easy out. Again, I don't recommend using easy in and easy out. We use the easy ease option more. Right click on it, the keyframe assistant, hit easy ease. The shortcut is F9. Now if you pay attention, the shape of the keyframes has changed again. If the arrows are forward and backward, here are two arrows on top of each other. It has both easy in and easy out. If we select these two and hit the F9 key, the After Effects program will no longer care which keyframe you choose now. It will adjust the speed of both. If you look at the speed graph, their curves are similar like this. It is as if we gave easy out to the first and easy in to the last. Note here that if I select both keyframes, the curve is the same. So we learned that we mostly use the easy ease, which includes both. Please use the shortcut from now, because it is a hassle if you want to right click, select keyframe assistant, then easy ease. Let's select two keyframes and hit F9 on keyboard, so that these two keyframes will also become easy ease. Now if we compare their speed with the first one, we see that the first one moves normally. It's kind of linear. Now the speed is constant. At first the speed is 0, and until the end the speed remains constant and moves on a line. But here, if you pay attention, first the speed decreases, then increases, and after that gradually decreases. I will tell you a point and then I will explain how to change the speed. For example, you create a keyframe and convert it to the easy ease. If you want to restore it to its original state, you take Ctrl and click on it, and then it becomes a normal keyframe. When I select them both, the curve is slightly different from the bottom curve. See, the speed is high here, and then it gradually increases until it stops here. And again, we take Ctrl and click on it, and it turns into a line chart. So if we hold the Ctrl and click on any of them, it turns to a line chart. If we hit F9, we give it an easy ease effect. Now we want to change that. The easy ease effect is usually not very interesting and can't be used for all motions. For example, we want its speed to be below here and then suddenly increase. Then a slowdown with a steep slope and then a gentle one. To do that, select this. When we draw a box around it, a yellow handle appears. When we click on the second part of this handle, here, not the other part. If we move this, we are moving the seconds. Well, we want it to be the same 2 seconds. And we just want to adjust their speeds. Click on this handle and drag it to the right. If we hold the shift button, it will come forward to some extent. Up here, and then it stops. The shift causes it to move in a straight direction and not go up and down. If you don't hold the shift key, it may move up and down, and with shift, it moves in a completely straight line. Now I pull this forward, and if you look closely at the speed curve, the speed is low so far. Then it suddenly increased and decreases. Finally, it decreases with a gentle slope. Pay attention to the letter. Here the speed was low, then it suddenly increased, and the end turned out like this. Let's change another one. I want it to be like that. I make these two easy ease. Hit F9. I enter its diagram again. I want the speed to be high at first, then slow down and gradually become 0. What do? We choose this, and with shift we pull the handle to the right. Select this one in the same way. Hold the shift and drag the handle to the right. Now look, the speed is high here, then decreases and becomes 0. They all stand together. Their timing is the same, but their spacing is different. Now for the last one, I want to do the opposite. I press the F9 button and select this. I want it to slow down first and then increase gradually. I select this, hold the shift and drag it to the right. This one as well. All played. As you can see, the speed decreases at first and increases at the end. So you can change all these curves and produce more attractive motions with them. These two have a curve, and you can see the curves of other layers as well. You got familiar with these speed graph and value graph options. We don't have much to do with value graph because we can specify its location on the screen, and then adjust the speed with the speed graph section. Most of our job is with this option, the speed graph. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as well.